In this video, I explain you the fuse settings for CW fuse. The fuse settings, this area, is used for this fuse object here. So at the moment you see the fuse object is a curve and looks like this. The first option, fuse curve resolution, sets the resolution of the mesh object of this fuse here. At the moment you see the value of 16. When I set it to 1, which is the first or the lowest value, then you see the mesh object is getting a low resolution of mesh, or became low resolution, a low poly object, like this, like for games, for example. And the higher the values, the more faces are used and the high resoluted curve option you get. The next option is the fuse profile radius. As you can imagine, you can set the profile, the thickness of your fuse. At the moment it has 5 millimeters, and you can set it, for example, to 2 centimeters, and the fuse is then bigger or thicker. Here you can see the fuse thickness, and then you also see the fuse is a bit low poly here at this diameter here at the profile. To change this, you use the fuse profile resolution option. If you set it to 3, then you have a 3-sided profile. The higher this value here, the more or the rounded is the profile of your fuse. I have set it to 6 here because when you if you use a very thin fuse, then you don't really see the resolution and you can render faster. But if you want, you can set it to 12, for example, or 16, and then you will get a very nice round object. Here, as you can see some edges or faces, but if you increase the value, it became rounder. Let's say 32. The next one is the pattern size. As soon as you change, for example, the radius, the pattern size stays. This is an interesting feature, but some users maybe need a bigger pattern. To change this, you go to the fuse pattern size option and can increase the size for the fuse. I don't have really a nice resolution to make a repeating pattern, so I hope you forgive me that the fuse is a bit strange in this version. But there are not many fuses that are using 13 centimeters fuse. So we let it at 5 millimeters, for example, and set the resolution to 1 or 2, for example. Let's say 1. 1 is mostly one of the best values because then the fuse pattern fits very well here. The last option is the fuse shade smooth value. At the moment, the fuse is very smoothly. You can switch on or off this option, and then you can see the fuse became smoothly or not. So I've included this option for users who don't want to use a shaded fuse and want to have a non-shaded or solid shaded fuse here. So if you check it on, it's by default it's on, then you have a smoothie fuse here for your cable or for your fuse here. So you see, these are the fuse settings for CW fuse.